Hello and welcome to All for Women's Football, and it is Lower Lingo episode 6. Look at that, I found an extra finger. So we'll be all right all the way up till 10. After that, it's game over because I'm definitely not getting my feet out on the internet. So nobody needs to see that. Wasn't expecting to start like that, but there we go. That's where we've gone. And we'll see whether or not editor. We'll see where we go with that one. But we are back, the 6th episode, and it should be awesome because we have got some football from the north, some football from the Midlands, some football from the south, and we are going to be looking, of course, at the leagues for the north and the Midlands. Not so much in the south because I've gone down a slightly different route to our other two panelists. Of course, we have our regular Gareth, who's just down there. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good, thank you. I would ask how you are, but you've started the show talking about feet, so I'd best not to go down that route, I think.
It's been a tired old day, Gareth, and it's showing. It's showing. You can have too much of a good thing, and that might be it. But there we go. And of course, you'll notice John Foster not here today. We have replaced him for the purposes of today because he's unavailable. He's not been sacked as yet, but if you never know, if Andrew outdoes him, we might well look to make it a permanent incoming. You never know. John Foster is literally fighting for his place now. But for now, his replacement, Mr. Andrew Wall. Lovely to have you, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good, and it's good to be on. So I'm talking all things lower league. So let's see where it takes us.
Absolutely. And I'm really looking forward to it. Now, the good news is I've been practicing and I don't need to worry too much. I've got everything set up in advance. So look at that. Look how quickly I don't have to worry about finding it or anything. 6 episodes in, and I've finally cracked how to get that seamlessly in without it looking like I am genuinely a 42-year-old man who doesn't know how to use technology. So that's wonderful. Now I'm just a 42-year-old man. Beautiful. And we're starting with what a game this is, by the way. If it takes me an hour to do the slides, this one took me about 15 minutes because there was so much to write in. It's the return of Liverpool Feds. They are back into the conversation along with Sporting Calcer. And this one is, of course, Gareth, who's going to be talking about them. So, Gaza, take us through why Liverpool Feds 5, Sporting Calcer 1. I mean, you can see it from the slide, to be honest, but why did this one catch your eye?
I mean, it just looks like an absolutely mental game. Calcio went 1-0 up and conceded almost straight away to equalise. For the first 50 minutes of the game, it looked like it was relatively even. Calcio go 1-0 up, and then for some reason, in the time it took them to get the ball from the back of the net onto the penalty spot, everything just seemed to implode. Um, I think we've said it before, haven't we? Or I've said it before, that I think Feds have a real shout at being the best of the rest in this league, kind of below those teams that are spending money and investing. You know, your Forests, your Burnleys, your Rugbies, for example. And last week they had a real statement performance, and this week again they've kind of backed it up and are showing again why they're one of the top sides in the division. And again, I'll bang the drum for sides that don't have a huge men's team backing them. I think we see two of them here actually. Um, and yeah, just to react to going 1-0 down by absolutely battering your opponents for 40 minutes is madness. I mean, being playing against 10 players probably helps, but um, what I will say though, to kind of touch on Sporting Calcer and what John said earlier to us, is that they've not actually played any of the sides in and around them at the bottom of the table yet. So they've had a tricky start, and there are points available to pick up against your Halifaxes and your Hulls. The other thing that I would say though is for a side that, you know, I think at this point we can say is likely to be there or thereabouts in terms of a relegation scrap, you probably want to look at where you can scrape some more points other than just looking to beat those other two sides around you. Because if they happen to get uh, a shock result against a bigger club, you know, if Hull go and beat West Brom, for example, or get a result against Stoke, then you're playing catch up again. So, you know, Carlson need to start winning some points, as do Hull and Stourbridge and Halifax. So, you know, there are sides that are going to be down there as well. They all need to start picking up points, but when we touch on the table later, I think where Feds are, they're in a great position. They're really up there, taking it to the big teams in this division, and it's great to see. I remember a few years ago, FC United, we got relegated when I was there against Liverpool Feds, the day that they sealed the title by beating Newcastle to it. And yeah, to see them how they've kind of progressed since then in the couple of years they've spent in the Northern Premier is really really nice to see. And 147 fans down at Jericho Lane, that'll feel big. And yeah, I just think that they're making statement after statement, week after week, and it's good for the game if these smaller clubs feels disrespectful, but clubs that aren't backed by a Premier League or Championship club can dice it up there at the top of the table. I think it's just good for everybody.
Yeah, no, I think so. And I mean, you look there, the red card, obviously, for Layla Kennedy, 2 yellow cards didn't help, but I think that was quite late on. The second yellow was dished out. But yeah, Jericho Lane. And of course, that takes down the walls of Jericho. And you can see, of course, that the walls were broken down for Sporting Tulsa. And Andrew Wall is already smiling because he knows exactly why I've gone that way, because it's going to be him who is next to talk to us. And it's lovely. It's his debut. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. But he has chosen Hull City 0, Nottingham Forest 4. So without further ado, Andrew Wall, why did you choose Hull versus Nottingham Forest?
I just feel like with Forest at the moment, they seem a bit, like I say, I don't want to say unstoppable at the moment because they haven't lost, in the league as yet. And I think their toughest test has been against Burnley last time out, which was a 1-1 draw. But it just seems like I've seen Forest play a couple of weeks back, and they just seem like, even when opposition teams are employing a low block on them, they seem to be just breaking them down and and just getting stronger for it. So just say Charlie Wellens, I think that's a 6th goal of the season now, and so that the first goal when it was scored, I've seen highlights of it, and it was just like across that, just literally found the back of the net, just like evaded everyone, including the keeper. So it was just like, and then she went on to get a 6th goal of the season as well. So, and then Melissa Johnson bagging a brace as well. So just I feel like, as I say, with the table at the moment with Forest, feels like with the table, as I said, there's like 3 leagues, 3 mini leagues. You got the top and then the middle and the bottom as well. So it's just like, you got Rugby Borough underneath Forest as well. So it'll be interesting to see when Rugby Borough play Forest how well they do against them. But just at the moment, just don't feel like it's Forest to lose at the moment. I'm just like, a couple of seasons ago they should have gone up, and they lost out in the playoffs to Watford to get into the Championship. But now they've had the investment in their side as well, and you look at the squad they've got, as we know, Molly Green, used to be ex-United player. Kate Longhurst, former WSL player as well. It's just like they've got a lot of good experience as well. So, and say Amy Sims as well. I think she played at Derby as well. So it's just like it's built to be a good season for Forest. And the last time I said if they don't get promoted, it will be a very big surprise because it's going to take another good team to stop them, like last season when Newcastle virtually running away with it as well. So, but yeah, I just think the whole they just kept them near the bottom of the table as well, and it's keeping those around them in touch with them. So it's like that bottom of the table is like 4 teams, and any one of them could be in those last 2 places. So those teams around have got to start picking up points somewhere. So it's just for Hull it wasn't the best day for them, but there's going to be other games where they're going to have to pick up points like those around them as well. So, but yeah, for me, Forest, as I said, they seem a bit unstoppable at the moment. So just see how long they see if anybody else can break them down, get a win over them. So it'll be interesting to see the course of the season they do.
No, Absolutely. Sounds perfectly reasonable. Well done. His nerves should be over now. He's settled himself in. He's had a touch of the ball and all is well. So that's really good. And whilst he's just getting some water on board, we can have a little look at the Northern Premier as it stands because, as you can see, it's quite a moment for us. Nottingham Forest, you see, top of the table with Rugby Borough still second, no change there. Burnley have moved up one place. Liverpool Feds are also up one place. Wolves have dropped down two, thanks to their goal difference more than anything else. So Burnley, Liverpool Feds happy there. And as we talk about those little mini leagues that Andrew was talking about there, that's your first one that you're looking at there, first to fifth, furiously fighting it out for the Northern Premier title. You've got West Bromwich Albion, Stoke and Derby all on 7 points. Interestingly enough, Derby and Stoke have just switched round. That's all they've done there. And of course, Stourbridge, who were, if you were eagle-eyed enough to notice, were in the relegation zone. They moved up 2 places with 3 points. Now, Hull City dropped down 1. Halifax also dropping down 1, and Sporting Calcer, as has been mentioned already by Mr. Gareth, still just propping them up. And let's be honest, somebody's got to do that. You know, that's the whole point of the foundation. But we are hoping that we will see a little bit of change, a little bit of movement around there, and it doesn't all end up going one way. Okay, let's move over to this one. So as you can see here, we've got AFC Fylde 0, Norton and Stockton Ancients 1. Which, in the grand scheme of things, when you look at it, it's just a 1-0, Barry. Why would that possibly be important? Well, the good news is I don't have to tell you because it's got nothing to do with me. So Gareth will tell you instead. Tell us, Gazza, what's important about this wonderful game that 65 people watched?
So, AFC Fylde were relegated from the Northern Premier League last season. Norton and Stockton Ancients have been in and around the bottom third of the table of the Division 1 North for the last few years. Last year, Norton finished 9th. In 22-23, they finished 7th, so still in the bottom half of the table. 21-22, they finished 8th. So, you know, they've been there or thereabouts in that bottom half of the table for a few years. For AFC Fylde to come down, and we had this conversation about, I think it was Lewis, wasn't it, a few weeks ago, kind of coming down and stopping the rut. Well, Fylde haven't done that yet. They've won 1 game all season. They're on 4 points. They are 1 point above York, 2 points above Barnsley, who both have a game in hand on them. So that Fylde are in a precarious position in terms of where that win's going to come from. I think I mentioned Fylde when they got their win against Stockport on the show, and yeah, I think the co-managers there have a difficult job to do, and they need to start picking up points because, you know, when you take the momentum of a poor season into the following season, it can just make things even more difficult to turn it around. So it's a big result for Norton, who have had a couple of good results. You know, a point against Huddersfield and now beating Fylde, that they're picking up some good points. They did drop all 3 to York City, but you know, I think we touch on it? Maybe I mentioned York quite a bit. But yeah, it's just a really interesting story down at the bottom of the Division 1 North, which we'll see shortly, with kind of it being relatively promoted sides down there in Barnsley. York survived relegation last year, and then Fylde at the bottom 3. So interesting to follow. Definitely, they need to start picking up some points.
No, absolutely. You're not wrong there. And as you just mentioned, we're going to look at the league table, which still has Middlesbrough sat proudly at the top with 13 points, having not lost a game yet. Cheadletown Sting is still my favourite name in that league. 2nd place, and no change for them. Durham Sestria did, however, drop down, which was not the best moment for them. Leeds, this is the big jump that you were talking about. I think you spoke about how just 1 win could make such a difference in this league. Leeds have moved up 4 places. Stockport have moved up 4 places. They were both sitting on the edge of the relegation zone. That one win has pumped them straight up into 4th and 5th. We've got AFC Fylde, obviously, with that loss, dropped down 3 spots. So just one loss has dropped them down. And even better for Norton and Stockport Stockton, they have jumped above AFC Fylde. So it really is absolutely tight as anything down there. Norton, of course, were bottom of the table and now aren't, which is great news for them. Doncaster Rover Bells and Huddersfield Town dropping down as well a little bit, and York drop into the relegation zone, along with Barnsley FC, who are not Barnsley women, or at least they are women from Barnsley, but they're not Barnsley women as we know it, which you'll find out in a second when we look at the next wonderful league. But we are going over to Leafield Athletic and Lincoln United. So, Andrew Wall chose another 4-0. He likes 4-0, does Andrew Wall. Talk to us about Leafield and Lincoln. Was it the alliteration that got you, or was it something else?
It was something else, more the significance, to say with Leafield. It seems like at the start of the season, I think with Leafield, people were expecting them to be near the bottom of the table like they were last season. But I think they've defied a few expectations amongst people as well. And I just think that last season, I think they achieved 27 points out of all their games, and they've got more than half already at the first, 5 games, and they're already on 12 points. So, which is, say, from what I've seen, highlights of it, it was a good game for Leafield, and I think they probably could have scored more than the 4 that they did as well. So I think, a bit like the other game, the Forest, game, it was like the first goal for Leafield was like Gallup got down the left and across again, just invaded everyone and just went over the keeper and into the back post, and it just set the tone for the game as well. So, and the second one came from substitute, just had an instant impact. I think Hemmans, hopefully I've said that right, only a second to touch, got the ball in the back of the net, and they were already 2-0 up as well. So, and then Megan Jenkins made it 3, and then Hannah Fishwick made it 4 with beating the offside trap with a lobbed header over the keeper. But I just think what Tash Tesgal's doing at Leafield, as I said, there's been a lot of changes over the summer there, so they're playing at Castlevale Stadium now, so which is great for them as well. And it just feels like, good things are happening there. And I just think that, the 4th in the table at the moment, I just think they could kick on even further. I remember saying to Tash, when she left Starridge, go looking what comes next for you, and she's really is thriving there at Leafield, and seems to getting the setup right, and also the players she's got in, that some of them I know from playing at Starridge as well, and Abby Cowie as well. I don't know whether she's permanent there, or I don't know whether there's a dual reg with Blues. Don't quote me on that, but all I know is she signed for Leafield. So, but she also played with Hannah Fishwick, Birmingham City Women's Academy as well. So they've got that link up there as well. So, and with Leafield, I just think those teams around them, I think they're causing a few upsets, and people are starting to take a lot more notice of them. So they could be one to watch for the rest of the season, see how they do.
Absolutely. Well done. Good stuff indeed. And again, we're going to have a quick look at the league table and see how it stands. So Peterborough United actually have moved up since the last time we looked at this, which was a few games ago, to be fair. But Peterborough United unbeaten, 6 out of 6, 18 points, and have moved therefore to the top of the league, whereas Loughborough Lightning have played a game less, and so therefore have dropped into second. But as you can see from the goal difference, if they were to win, even just by the solitary goal, they would return back to the top of the league. So really tight between Peterborough and Loughborough Lightning, which again is a great name, isn't it? We've got Northampton Town, Leafield Athletic and Notts County all sat in the same spot as they have been. Bolton St Michael's as well. Barnsley women not doing too bad. But then, of course, you've got Sutton Coldfield. Solihull Moors, that's the big one. They've gone down 3 spots, Solihull Moors. And the story behind Solihull Moors at the moment is really quite naff, to be honest with you. They've had to put out a statement with regards to their pitches, the fact that they had one built for them. They don't seem to have any pitches guaranteed, so it's causing problems at the moment. You can see there they've played the 5 games, but it's not sounding like all is well there. So yeah, hopefully there will be a bit of a change. Bolton St Michael's, as I said, have moved up 2. Lincoln United with that loss dropped down to 10th, dropping 3 spots. But I feel like I'm doing the top 40. Barnsley women up 3 into 7, and Sutton Coldfield Town are up into 8th. Worcester and Lincoln still 11th and 12th. Even if Lincoln, well, have got another game in hand there, but it's not looking good. They need a point out of that, really, if they're going to start moving, pot pickers. Okay, right, it's over to me now. As you can see, I've doubled up, but that was because, don't push it for that one, you need to be on that side. There we go. I've gone for the FA Cup because it's FA Cup weekend. And why would you not want to talk about the FA Cup? Love the FA Cup. Absolutely superb. How many times can you say FA Cup in 30 seconds, Barry? Count them. I'm not bothering. This is a huge result. Absolutely massive. Now, hands up, those people who've never heard of Bungay Town before the moment I pop that up on this. That's me. Never heard of them. Not a clue. But my goodness, we know about them now. So they were up against Newmarket Town in the second qualifying round of the FA Cup. Now, Newmarket Town are a tier 6 side. They are in the Eastern Region, Division 1 South, which is a tier 6. Now, they've not done too badly. They're the 9th. They won 1, drawn 2, and lost 1. They've got a +4 goal difference. So they're a side that are doing all right. They are just above, I do believe, the Stevenage Development Squad, who are a very young side. And so they are just above them as it stands. And you would expect, because in general that's how the FA Cup works, that gradually the lower league teams get knocked out by the higher league teams. So even tier 6 to tier 7 is a bit of a jump. But Bungay weren't having none of it. Bethany Turner and Hazel Saddington stepping up to the fray here and saying, no, we're having some of this. We want to make it to that 3rd qualifying round, see if we can get some of that money and shake it all about. And that's exactly what they have done. They are top currently of the Norfolk Women and Girls Football League. When you have to start using the word Women and Girls Football League, you know you've reached tier 7 of the footballing pyramid, and that's exactly where they are. So they are just below. Now, I said they're top of the league, makes it sound brilliant. They've only played 2 games, so there's not a huge amount in it for them all. But it made me go and have a little look back over and see what have Bungay Town done before. Well, they actually won the league last year. So I'm struggling. I wish I'd had more time to look at it because I'd love to know why it is they won the league last year but weren't promoted. So that's a little something there. So a little story there. Who knows? Maybe you can go and do your own research. We could get you all to get involved with that. But amazing. Bungay did win that league. And the 2 years before, they finished 6th. But that was in Division 2 of the Norfolk Women and Girls Football League. So they were actually promoted when finishing 6th. It's a strange place, lower league women's football sometimes. They finished 6th, still made it into the Division 1 when they had a little bit of a reshuffle. So for me, this was an absolute nailed on match that we needed to talk about because, like I say, a tier 7 side beating a tier 6 side, it's always worth having a little bit of a clap about. So there we go. If I'd been a little bit more prepared, I could have told you who Bungay were playing in the next round, but I haven't done that bit yet. Maybe I'll have the opportunity to look for it in a moment, unless, of course, Gareth has got that sat there. He has. So he's going to find that. And whilst he's finding who Bungay Town are going to be playing, he might be able to tell us equally who... Oh, dear, that's not good, is it? Sack me with the stuff there, because we have got... This is not good at all because I haven't changed the badges, as you can see. So I was going so well. I'd done incredibly well. The world was doing good. And then I completely forgot to change the badges. So that's going to be it. I will be replaced as of next week. John Foster will be back. Andrew Ward will be staying. But there we go. This is Haringey Borough against Royston Town. And you'll recognise it because it was the match that I said last week that I was going to be looking out for. and Mike lived up to it. Absolutely lived up to it. So Haringey's Connie Wakeford scored the goal for Haringey. But as you can see here, Tally Miles and Emma Slater, that was Tally Miles' first goal of the season. Emma Slater is on 12 goals this season. She's only played 6 games, averaging 2 goals a game at the moment. And I just think it's, again, for Royston, absolutely unbelievable the level of progression that they have shown over the last couple of seasons. They've gone from being a side that had never won the Hertfordshire Women's Cup, the County Cup. They were beaten by Stevenage in a penalty shootout. What a game that was, by the way, a couple of seasons ago. Stevenage went 2-1 up in the 90th minute, Amy Goodrum scoring a goal. And literally, this is how much they're old, they think it's all over. I'd had the GoPros up and everything. I'm wandering around the side, getting ready to go and celebrate. And of course, 97th minute, Royston equalised. Went to a penalty shootout, so had to wander back round and put the GoPros back up for the penalties, which was won thanks to a Celine Ray's save right at the very end. But they went from that. They then got their revenge against Stevenage by winning, I think it was in the quarterfinals last year, knocking Stevenage out. So as a result, they got that and they went all the way to the final where they won that County Cup. First time that they've done that in their history. I'm fairly certain they finished in the top 4 last season, and now they're top of the league and they are absolutely running away with it. Absolutely running away with it. There's teams behind trying to keep up with them. 5 games won out of 5. They are absolutely nailing it. And Emma Slater is a big reason for that. They beat Stevenage 3-2 the week before. So that was a really tight game as well, with Emma Slater getting what you could call the winner, because it was the difference between the two. So, yeah, I just wanted to highlight Royston there and say how well they are doing, purely because it was the game that I said to watch. Apologies for the badges. What can I say? I'm suitably chastising myself right now. But for now, we can ask Gareth, have you managed to see who it is that Bungay Town will be playing in the next round?
I've found both of them, Barry, and you're not going to believe this, but Royston Town host Bungay Town.
See, just that extra 2 minutes of research, Gareth, and this would have brought it all together in a neat little bow. But you've managed to do that, and you're right. I don't believe it. That's absolutely my mind that the two of them have been drawn together. So there you go. There's one to watch when that comes out, which is the 13th of October, I do believe, is the FA Cup match. So that's absolutely huge. I've got to be honest, that might be the end for Bungay Town there. I think Royston probably have got a bit too much for them, but I could be wrong. Stranger things have happened. Right, we're going to lose that, get rid of it out of the way, because nobody needs to see that Bungay Town are once again playing Newmarket, even though they're not. So there we go. But we are going to quickly run around and see what our matches of the weekend are going to be. So Andrew Wall, you're the guest here. Let's throw it over to you. What's your match to watch this weekend? Where should people be putting their beady eyes across the Midlands?
Yeah, I was going to say Bournemouth versus Cheltenham, which I think is the cup game. So I think it's definitely one to watch. I've seen both teams play, so it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top on that. So if I wasn't at another game myself, I might have headed that way and seen how both teams are doing that. But I think Cheltenham will probably have enough to get by, but Bournemouth have got something about them that could prove a real threat and get through. So, yeah, that would be my pick of the weekend if anybody wanted to go there.
Brilliant. There we go. Gaza, how about you? What have you highlighted this weekend?
Soon, because there's some midweek fixtures, so they'll be happening tonight as you're watching this, and one of those games was previously mentioned by Andrew, and Rugby Borough host Nottingham Forest on Wednesday night. So that's worth highlighting. The other one, also both of these sides mentioned on the show today. Barry's favourite name in the National League Division 1 North, Cheadletown Stingers, host Nottingham Forest in the Cup. So, I think Cheadle are absolutely flying. It's going to be a real good test for them to to be able to go up against Forest. I don't think. Personally, don't expect them to necessarily get anything from the tie, but what an experience for those players to host Forest and be able to really test themselves against the best the National League has to offer.
Absolutely, can't argue with that. I have returned back to the land of the WNL for our upcoming fixture, and the one that I have chosen is in the Southern Premier. And it is between Watford and AFC Wimbledon. And the reason why I have highlighted that one, Watford currently in third place with 10 points, AFC Wimbledon currently in seventh with 8 points. And it just struck me in that title race, as you're looking at there, that this could be a really big game for both of them. We were talking about mini leagues. It's incredibly tight in the Southern Premier. Hashtag are on 13. You've then got Ipswich, Watford, Exeter, Oxford, and Billericay all on 10 points. Ipswich do have the 2 games in hand, though, over the other teams. Watford have also got a game in hand, to be fair. And then you also have below them Wimbledon on 8, Cheltenham on 7, Lewis on 6. So it is quite tight. But you just kind of get the feeling if Watford manage to get this win over Wimbledon, that will put them on to 13. Ipswich, if they win their 2 games in hand, can go on to 16. Watford, if they win their game in hand, go on to 16. And then all of a sudden, you've got a real gap between AFC Wimbledon and the rest. Whereas, if Wimbledon go on to get the win there, they'll move on to 11 points. It would actually put them above Watford, even though Watford have got the game in hand. So I guess really, the too long didn't read here is that if AFC Wimbledon can win that, they're still in with a shout at the title. But this could be the game, as we start seeing these stories unfold, that sees AFC Wimbledon potentially out of the title picture. And so for me, that's definitely one to be keeping your eyes on to see whether or not we're going to start seeing a split league, a bit like you see in Scotland, where basically you've got a top 6 and a bottom 6. And it'll be interesting to see how they go. There we go. Well, there's no John Foster today, as you can see. And usually it takes us about 38, 39, sometimes 40 minutes to finish the show. We've done it 6 minutes earlier. So there's a lot to be said for that. Well done, Andrew Wall. If you could go back, talk to your mentor there, Mr. Foster, and just explain to him how being clear and concise could help. That would be super. To be fair, we also haven't gone through a couple of leagues because of the fact that we spoke about the FA Cup. So that probably made a difference as well. But we do miss you, John. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. Gareth, thank you for joining us again. Much appreciated as ever. Andrew, thank you for giving us your time this evening. It's much appreciated. Thank you, of course, for watching and getting involved. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you haven't, I guess we won't see you again. But if you have, we'll see you next week. And I look forward to it. Take care.